Prapannaham sada shyama guru padarvindayo tasya preranaya tasya divyadesham vadamyaham barhapidam natvarvapu karnayo karnikaram vibhradvasah kanakakapisham vaijayanti chamalam randhran veno radhar sudhaya purayan gopavrindair vrindaranyam svapadramanam pravishad geet kirti namah kamalnabhaya namah kamalmaline namah kamalpadaya namaste kamalekshana yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tagvam devamatma buddhi prakasham mumukchurvai sharanamaham prapadye. The divine souls will have a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan, so you can join me in singing Radhe Govinda Govinda Bol, repeating after me, and after that I'll continue with the philosophy of the Gita. Radhe Govinda Govinda Bol, Radhe Radhe Govinda Bol, Radhe Govinda Govinda Bol, Radhe Radhe Govinda Bol, Radhe Govinda वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Today we'll continue with the philosophy of the 6th chapter of the Gita. Up until now, in the first 5 chapters, Shri Krishna has been explaining the philosophy with many very basic and fundamental points. Here in the 6th chapter, he takes us more deeply into the philosophy of devotion and how to attach our mind to him. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikah karmibhyascha yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo matah. Here he emphasizes the importance of bhakti. You see, in the Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna says, Yogastrayo maya prokta nrinam shreyo vidhitsaya jnanam karma cha bhaktischa nopayo nyosti kutrachit. He says there are 3 paths to attain him: bhakti, jnana, and karma. But all 3 paths are the way of attaching our mind to him. He uses the word yoga. There are 3 ways of yoga. So you have bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga. The yoga part means to join. Your mind in union with God is yoga. And your mind in union with him means you're remembering him. Lovingly thinking of him, longingly thinking of him, that's yoga, true yoga. However, karma and jnana on their own are not considered a path to God, which is why later on in the Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna says, Na sadhayati mam yogo, na sankhya dharma uddhava, na swadhyayastapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. I can be captured through bhakti, but I cannot be attained through. Here he's using the word yoga to mean like ashtanga yoga, the physical practice of yoga. It has 2 different meanings. I cannot be captured through physical practice of yoga. I cannot be attained through practice of good actions, dharma. I cannot be attained through the practice of the path of jnana, called sankhya in this case, nor by literal study of the scriptures, nor by physical renunciation, nor by any amount of good action. I am only attainable through bhakti. Bhaktya hamekaya grahyah. To make it even more clear, he says, I am only attainable, grahya, through one single way, ekaya, bhakti. Bhaktya means bhakti se, only through bhakti. So here in the 6th chapter of the Gita, he's saying the tapasvi has to do bhakti, the karmi has to do bhakti, the jnani has to do bhakti. Here bhakti means joining your mind with God. So he's using the word yoga. He says the tapasvi has to become a yogi. If the tapasvi is just doing austerities but not surrendering to God, then he can't attain God. But if he becomes a yogi, in other words, while he's doing tapasya, he surrenders his mind to God, or he joins his mind with God, then he can attain God. But the key ingredient here is the bhakti, not the tapasya. The tapasya is extra. Same thing with jnana. He says, the jnani must also become a yogi. The one following the path of jnana has to also surrender to God. Then he can attain God. And the karmi has to become a yogi. This you've learned in several different ways already in the first 5 chapters of the Gita. that karma alone can only take you to Swarg or get a better destiny in your next life. Only when you attach your mind to God while performing the good karma, then it becomes karma yoga. That becomes the means of attaining God. And he says, out of all the yogis, yoginam api sarvesham, out of all the yogis, meaning the tapasvi yogi, the jnani yogi, the karmi yogi, says out of all of them, shraddhavan bhajate yo mam. Same yuktatamo matah. Yuktatamah means the greatest. Out of all the yogis, the greatest one is the one who shraddhavan, with faith, bhajate yo mam. Bhajate mam means worships me, does devotion to me. How? With faith. Remember what I described to you yesterday? The act of faith that is required to meditate on Shri Krishna in his personal form. When you close your eyes and picture him standing in front of you, that is an act of faith. You're lovingly thinking, he is here with me. I may not be able to see him, but I know he is here. So you're lovingly, faithfully remembering him. He says that bhakt, that faithful, loving devotee, is the best of all the yogis. Here in the 6th chapter, he tells us more about meditating on him. We have to be very clear what kind of bhakti he's talking about when he says, I'm attainable only through bhakti. There are two main divisions of bhakti. Anasanga bhakti and sasanga bhakti, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. Anasanga bhakti means bhakti performed without the attachment of the mind. It means bhakti performed with your body and senses, but without the attachment of your mind. And then sasanga bhakti, which means bhakti that is performed with the attachment of your mind. 99.9% of the bhakti which happens in the world is anasanga bhakti. What this means is people are doing puja, hours and hours of puja. But where is their mind attached? In their son, in their daughter, in their husband, in their wife, in their bank account, in their personal popularity. So the mind is not attached to God, but they're physically doing bhakti. This is anasanga bhakti. Someone may go and trek to Vaishno Devi. And when they get there, what do they ask for? Something worldly, which shows that their mind is attached in the world. If their mind was attached to Vaishno Devi, they would have just done pranam, and if they had asked for anything, they would have said, I want you. I desire your divine vision. I've come here, but I want to see you. Then that means their mind is attached. That would be sasanga bhakti. But no, people ask for something in the world. It's kind of like someone who goes desperately to a doctor in the middle of the night because their son or daughter has a fever and they're worried, oh, the fever's so high, they may not even make it till the morning. And the doctor says, no, I don't make house calls in the middle of the night. So that mother or father falls at the doctor's feet and is crying, clutching the doctor's feet, begging him to come and see their child. If you just observe physically, what do you see? Fallen at the doctor's feet, crying at his feet. Looks like he has great bhakti for the doctor, doesn't it? But where is his mind attached? In his own child. His mind is not attached to the doctor. So that's anasanga bhakti. This is mostly the bhakti we do to God. We cry to God, but we cry for something else. We're not actually crying for God. When you cry because you love someone and you miss them, you're longing for them, that means your mind is attached to them. But we generally don't do that for God. We visit all the holy places, but our mind is attached in our worldly relations. We verbally profess our love for God. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. You alone are mine. You are my everything. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvam eva means you only. It means other than you, I don't have anyone, anything. This is what we say from our mouth. But while we're saying Tvam eva mata, you alone are my mother, actually our mind is more attached to our worldly mother and not attached to God at all. This is anasanga bhakti. This does not purify the mind, because for the mind to be purified, it has to be joined with God. Our mind is perfectly in the world, but we're doing physical formalities to God. We can sing God's name, yet our attachment may remain in the world. The act of singing God's name does not purify our antahakaran. Antaha means andarwala, the inside part. That can't be washed with soap. It can't be cleaned by verbally saying God's name. It can't be cleaned by physically visiting holy places. It can only be cleaned when we bring God in there. That means we have to attach our mind to Him. So we must do sasang bhakti. Sasang bhakti can also be of two types. Keval man se ya man se plus indriyon se. Only with your mind, or with your mind plus your body. Meaning, you can just sit quietly and remember God. You're doing bhakti. If someone observes you, they may think, let's say you're sitting in the office. You have a 5-minute break. You're sitting in your chair, just with your eyes closed. If someone sees you, they may think, oh, he's having a very stressful day. He's just closing his eyes, trying to get a little bit of peace. But you may actually be thinking of Krishna. You may actually be visualizing Him and feeling His presence. So you're doing sasang bhakti, but your body is not showing anything. From your body, you're not doing bhakti, only from your mind. Or you can come to the mandir, chant kirtan, and while you're chanting kirtan, you're doing the same thing you were doing in your office chair. You're visualizing Shri Krishna, you're thinking of Him, you're longing to meet Him. This is also sasang bhakti, so it's mind plus the activity of your body. You can be remembering Shri Krishna and doing puja. You can be remembering Shri Krishna and doing arti. This is all sasang bhakti, but remember, maner smarana pran. The pran of your devotion is smaran. Smaran means remembering or thinking of God. The pran is obviously the most important thing, right? You have a body. What happens if the soul leaves? Does anyone keep a body around? Is it of any value? No, we immediately get it out of the house. It may be your most loved one, the one you couldn't live without, and as soon as they die, bahar, bahar. But he's your beloved. You're getting him out of the house. You're throwing him out. Yes. Now this, what's left behind, is not my beloved. This is just a dead body. It's of no use. The one I loved is gone. In the same way, devotion without loving remembrance of God, without smaran, is just like that. Pranheen sharir, a body without a soul, a body without life. You can say something is better than nothing. Chanting God's name, doing puja, doing any kind of physical bhakti without the attachment of the mind, it's better than nothing, right? We're not doing something bad. And it may lead us eventually to wonder, why is it that I've been doing bhakti for years, but my heart hasn't purified? My anger has not reduced. My worldly attachments have not reduced. My love for God has not increased. And I'm doing bhakti for years and years, repeating a mantra and jap beads for years and years. Eventually we'll ask the question, what's going on? What am I missing? Then we are open to understand that, oh, I've been doing anasanga bhakti all along. How could my antahakaran get clean through that? I have to do sasanga bhakti. So Shri Krishna emphasizes again and again in the Gita, we have to attach our mind to Him. And here in the 6th chapter, he explains something about meditation. Remember, I told you on the first day that I'm going to explain the Gita to you from the point of view of bhakti. When he explains meditation, he explains some things that actually don't relate to the path of bhakti. Like, for instance, in this chapter, he talks about what kind of seat you have to have in order to meditate on Him, how you have to sit, focusing your attention on the end of your nose. Okay, there are different ways to meditate. You can meditate to develop yogic siddhis. You can meditate to develop power of concentration. You can meditate to get peace of mind. So the Gita covers all of these topics. However, bhakti is supreme, and bhakti alone is recommended in Kali Yuga. So I'm just focusing on the bhakti part for you. When you're doing bhakti and you want to meditate on God, you don't have to worry about any particular position that you have to adopt, like how are your legs crossed? Are you in lotus position? You can even sit in a chair if you want. You don't have to worry about how your hands are. Are they folded in your lap? Are they on your knees? Are they held in some particular way? It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because all that matters is, where is your heart? Where is your mind? When you think of a loved one in this world, does it make any difference what position you're sitting in or how you're holding your hands? No. You're thinking of your husband or your wife or your child. You're just remembering them because it's natural to remember the one you love. Doing bhakti is the exact same thing. You just naturally think of Shri Krishna because He's yours. Also, please remember the important point I made yesterday about the different bhav, the different way that you can feel related to Shri Krishna, either as His servant or as His friend or as His mother or father or as His beloved, as His priyatam or preyasi. This is also part of meditation. The reason it's so natural to think of people in this world, and it's so easy that we don't even think of it as meditation, and we do it all the time, is because we feel related to people. Oh, this is my daughter, this is my son, and you're just thinking of them deeply all the time. Why? Because you feel truly related to them. This has to enter your mind when it comes to Krishna. You have to feel related. So adopt one of these modes of loving Him. Either Madhurya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, Dasya Bhav. Adopt one of these ways of loving Him, and then meditation on Him will become more natural. So in the same way that you don't feel you have to have any kind of ritual bath before you remember your husband or wife when you get up in the morning, you just remember them because you love them. In the same way, this sasanga bhakti, where you're trying to lovingly remember God, it doesn't require any such formalities. Those formalities are for other forms of worship, which are actually a way of accumulating punya, accumulating good you can say marks on the good side of your scorecard. So you get a better destiny in your next life. But doing bhakti to attain God has nothing to do with formality. It only has to do with you attaching your mind to Him. In order to do this, you can sit any way you want. You can do it any time of the day. You can do it in any place, as long as you won't be disturbed. You don't need a particular place which has been purified like you would if you were doing some kind of puja or yajna or something like that. You can do it in any place, at any time. sitting in any position, bathed or not bathed, it doesn't matter. Whatever rules you would follow for lovingly remembering someone in your family or someone you're attached to in the world, follow the same rules in remembering God. And those rules are nothing. Na desha niyamastasmin na kala niyamastatha. You don't have any formality for that kind of love, do you? Now that we've understood this, how do we actually meditate? Shri Krishna says, Yogi yunjita satata matmanam rahasi sthita ekakiyata chittatma nirashira parigraha manah sanyamya machitto yukta asita matparah upavishyasane yunjad yogamatma vishuddhaye. These are 3 different shlokas where he explains that you just have to think of him, join your mind with him. Yunjita satatam. Sit. He says sit. And in our case, it just means sit comfortably in some way that you won't be distracted by any kind of pain in your body. But do sit alertly so that you don't fall asleep. And also because when you sit alertly, it encourages your mind to pay better attention. If you sit in a lazy way, then it's sending a signal to your mind that this isn't important. You're free to wander. So you sit alertly, then mind knows, okay, he means business. Mana sanyamya. Try to control your mind. Nirashira parigraha. Try to withdraw your mind from worldly things. Leave worldly desires out of it when you're worshiping God. You have worldly desires, it's fine. Don't bring them into your bhakti. The goal is to attach your mind to God, not to multiply your worldly attachments. And asking God for worldly things simply multiplies our worldly attachments. So leave those aside. Find a place where you won't be disturbed. Rahasi sthita ekaki. And join your mind with him. How do you join your mind with him? He says, mat parah, mat chittah. 2 simple statements that just means, love me. Mat parah, feel related to me in a positive way. This is exactly what I've been explaining to you. How do you love him? How do you feel related to him in a positive way? Adopt one of those 4 bhav. He's your loving master and you're his servant. Your best friends. First one is dasya bhav. Second one is sakhya bhav. Third one, vatsalya bhav. You're his mother or father. He's your own child. And madhurya bhav, the closest one, which encompasses all of the others, where you and he are beloveds. He is the beloved of your soul. Adopt this way of feeling related to him. Then you know for sure you're doing sasanga bhakti. If you're really trying to feel related to Krishna, then he is in your heart, definitely. That's mat chitta. Your chitta is your heart. He says mat chitta. Bring me into your heart. But while you're doing the meditation, it's actually more effective to think of him being close to you rather than like taking his words literally that, okay, how am I going to imagine Krishna inside my heart? That's kind of awkward, actually. When you think of someone you love in the world, do you think of them as being inside your heart? You don't. You think of them being with you, next to you. Oh, when will I meet them again? Or I remember when I met them last time, we did this, we talked like that. So you're remembering or you're thinking of them being side by side with you. Although Shri Krishna is in your heart, but that's an awkward meditation. He's also in front of you, beside you. So think of him there. That's more natural for most people. And then you visualize him. As I mentioned yesterday, there's no right or wrong in visualization, because although it's impossible for us to correctly imagine Shri Krishna's form, because his form is divine and our mind is material, but he rewards us for our effort. If we faithfully try to think of him, that he's right here in front of me, you're trying to imagine what he looks like, his ornaments, his decorations, his dress. You can even use the help of a murti or a picture. If you're trying to do that, he is gracing you. You are joining your mind with him. Through your faith and his grace, you're creating a connection. That is sasanga bhakti. All you have to do is try to visualize him and feel related to him. Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj calls this Roop Dhyan, because Roop means the form. So you visualize his form and feel related to him. And the only desire you need to have is the desire to be with him, to meet him, have his darshan. And if you would like, to serve him. You can have that feeling as well. This is meditation. You want to bring Shri Krishna into your heart, meditate in this way. Arjun says, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavad dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Oh Shri Krishna, remembering you is so hard because my mind is so chanchal. It's like a monkey jumping all over the place. It's more difficult to control than the wind. I try to think of you and my mind goes everywhere else. Shri Krishna answers, Asanshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Yes, Arjun, I accept that the mind is durnigraha. It's difficult to control. It is not anigraha. It's not impossible to control. It's difficult to control. But it can be brought under control through abhyas. Practice. Why do we need practice? Well, the reason that our mind wanders is very simple. We're more attached in the world than we are to God. And those attachments have like a gravitational force on our mind. Whatever we're more attached to, our mind gets pulled in that direction, or that thing naturally comes in our mind. When we try to think of God, the world comes in our mind. Whoever we're attached to in the world comes in our mind. This is natural and it's to be expected. We have spent uncountable lifetimes, as well as this whole lifetime, doing sasanga bhakti of the world, joining our mind with this world and multiplying our attachments. So why wouldn't our mind keep going to the world? That's how we've trained it. We've done that abhyas of meditating on the world for uncountable lifetimes. Now we think in one 5-minute session, oh, Shri Krishna said, sit and think of him. Okay. Oh, it's so hard. My mind keeps going back to the world. And we get disheartened after one 5-minute session, or after a week of trying, or after a month of trying. That's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. Anything we ever learned took abhyas. The things that we learned, we didn't get disheartened because it was difficult. You all learned English or some kind of language. You didn't just know it on the first day you were born. You learned to understand and speak individual words. You learned to spell them and recognize them and make them into sentences. And gradually you learned a language. But even now, your knowledge of that language is not perfect. You forget words, even your first language. You may be speaking and you're thinking, oh, What word am I looking for? What's the right word for this? We forget words in our own first language. It took the same amount of effort to learn to walk. We didn't give that up on the first day because we didn't have the strength in our legs to stand. We saw everybody else walking. So I'm going to walk too. Yeah, we cried, we fell, we got bumps and bruises, but we never gave up. And eventually we walked, we started running. Learning to meditate on God is the same thing. We have to condition our mind through developing its attachment to God. Right now it's more attached in the world, so we have to expect that it's going to wander. So what to do when it wanders? Yato yato nischarati manaschancalamassthiram tatastato niyamyayet atmanyeva vasham nayet. Bring it back. That's it. You're trying to think of Krishna. Your mind goes somewhere else. Just realize it and bring it back. You don't have to get angry. That's not going to help. You don't have to get discouraged. Just realize, oh, my mind went to the world again. Okay. Kripaluji Maharaj says, if you get even 5 seconds of remembering Shri Krishna, that is a good start. Eventually that 5 seconds becomes 5 minutes. That 5 minutes becomes 25 minutes. You keep adding to it. Every little bit of success that you have is worthwhile. You get the benefit of it. Wherever the mind goes, realize it and bring it back. You were trying to visualize Krishna and your mind started thinking of the office or some other person. Just realize it and bring it back, or do something else. You can have a little trick. This also was taught to us by Kripaluji Maharaj. He says, if you get tired of bringing your mind back, then do the opposite. Wherever your mind goes, put Krishna there. Let's say you're thinking of Shri Krishna, maybe you're thinking of the divine abode, like you see all these beautiful pictures and paintings which are there to help us visualize what the divine abode looks like, divine Vrindavan. So you're trying to picture Radha or Krishna in their divine abode, and your mind goes to your own house or to your office. So try, instead of bringing it back to the divine abode, just put Krishna there in your house. Put Radha there in your house. You're thinking of your kitchen because that's where you spend the most time. Okay, Radha Rani is there in the kitchen with you. Shri Krishna is there in the kitchen with you. Or you're trying to think of Shri Krishna and your husband pops in your mind. So instead of bringing your mind from your husband to Shri Krishna, just look at your husband and see Shri Krishna inside your husband. He's there too, right? He's there inside this murti. That's not just a piece of stone. Shri Krishna is in that murti. That's why you can meditate on it and worship it and attain Him, because He is in there. Well, guess what? Shri Krishna is also in your husband. So when your husband comes in your mind, just see Shri Krishna inside of him and keep doing your meditation. Eventually your mind will get fed up. I keep trying to run away, and wherever I go, the same Krishna is there. Then mind will sit still and let you do whatever you want. But it takes time to get to that point. Eventually through this process, because you're actually building attachment to Him, when your attachment reaches a certain critical mass, its pull becomes more on your mind, and your mind actually naturally will keep thinking of Krishna, and it will become odd if your mind leaves Him and goes to the world. But you have to work to get to that point. You can't expect that to just happen automatically. So we have to do abhyas. Through abhyas, by continually bringing our mind from the world back to Shri Krishna and practicing this form of meditation, we purify our heart, we develop our faith and surrender, and we get closer to God realization. This, of course, all comes in the category of karma sannyas, which I explained to you yesterday means ceasing all worldly activities and just thinking of God. But you can only do that for so much time every day. You have to spend some time looking after your body, looking after your family, working, going to school, doing all of these things. What do you do the rest of the time? Shri Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. You have to remember me all the time. See me everywhere that you go. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Wherever you go, feel that He's with you. You don't have to try to visualize His omnipresence, because again, that is too awkward. You don't think of someone you love being everywhere, do you? You don't try to visualize them everywhere, here, 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 here. You just think, if you're thinking of that person you love, you just think of them at one place. Oh, I wish they were here with me. Something like that, think of Shri Krishna. He's here with me. I'm never alone. That's a fact. You may think of someone else you love, but they're not here with you if they're somewhere else. But Shri Krishna is always with you, which means that you're just joining your mind with the fact. I'll give you another practical trick that Kripaluji Maharaj taught us. He said, wherever you go, wherever you have to spend your day, at work or at school, do this. When you get there, pick a place which is Krishna's place. Could be on top of your desk, could be standing next to you, could be in the air somewhere. That's His place. You see Him there? Okay, start your work. After 1 hour, stop your work for just a few moments and remind yourself, He's still there. I'm not alone. Go back to your work. Keep doing that every hour. Eventually, when that becomes a habit, change it to every half hour, every 30 minutes. Get yourself accustomed to that. Then make it every 15 minutes. By the time you get to that point, it will be such a habit, remembering, oh, I'm not alone. He's here. He's here. It'll be like a second nature for you. It's always there in the back of your mind. Like if your boss is looking over your shoulder. Let's say you're at work, or you're working on the computer, and you know your boss has come in from the other room, and he or she is watching you from over your shoulder. So you go back to work, okay, you're doing your work. You don't turn around and look, right? Like, you're just aware, the boss is there, you're working. You're not making mistakes, you're able to focus on your work, but in the back of your mind, you know, I'm being watched. Same thing. You think Shri Krishna is here with me, I'm not alone, do your work, but in the back of your mind, you know He's there with you. This is Karma Yoga. You're keeping your mind attached to Him even while you work. You're physically involved and even mentally involved in doing some worldly activity, but you still feel a connection with Him. You can also still feel that love, that relationship for Him, that who is He to you? Oh, my best friend, Krishna, He's here with me. This is Karma Yoga. So we practice both Karma Sannyas and Karma Yoga. These are the two practical aspects of Sasanga Bhakti. Sasanga Bhakti, keeping your mind attached to God. Either while you cease all worldly activities and you only remember God, that's Karma Sannyas, or you're involved in worldly activities, but you're still keeping your mind attached to Shri Krishna. This is Karma Yoga, part of Sasanga Bhakti. In addition to this, he says, Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikantamanashnatah nachati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. "O Arjun, you also have to live a balanced life. In addition to remembering God all the time as much as possible, you also have to live a healthy life and a good life." He says this path of God realization is not for someone who eats too much or who eats too little. You should have control and be balanced and healthy. It's not for someone who sleeps too much or who sleeps too little. You should have control over your sleep and sleep a balanced, healthy amount. You also have to control your behavior. Be humble, be respectful, be good. When you add this in, this proper, balanced, healthy living in the world, along with constant remembrance of God and daily practice of meditation on His form with loving remembrance, this is the path to God. Arjun says, what if I'm following all of this and I die before I've fully purified my heart and attained you? Shuchinam Shrimatangehe Yoga Bhrashto Bhijayate Athva Yoginameva Kule Bhavati Dhimatam. Shri Krishna answers, you pick up where you left off. Wherever you finished, you go forward from there. If you made it 80% of the way there in this life and then you die, you start 80% to the finish line in your next life and you get the chance to go the rest of the way. Even if it takes you 3 lifetimes, 4 lifetimes, whatever it may be, you keep accumulating your progress. You don't lose it. However much progress you make in this life, you get the benefit of that. Shri Krishna Himself gives you the benefit of that in your next life in the form of devotional sanskars. That from within you'll get feelings of natural attraction towards God and the path of bhakti. You'll have a natural inclination towards learning and accepting spiritual philosophy like the Gita. This is all His grace, giving you the result of the devotion that you did in your last life. In this way, I've covered the highlights as they relate to the path of bhakti of the first 6 chapters of the Gita, as well as I've shared many practical tips which if you implement them in your life, you'll see the practical benefit. All of these I've learned from Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, and I myself have experienced the positive benefit of actually practicing all of this. Here at Radha Madhav Dham, this place has been created to give you an environment where you can come and learn about this philosophy as well as have a place to come and practice it with others. So take advantage of Radha Madhav Dham. Come on Sundays, come during any day of the week where we get together and we do kirtan and meditation. And I would say there's a great opportunity coming up in a couple of months. There's our Radha Madhav Dham intensive and family camp, which we have every summer for 2 weeks. This year it starts June 28th and goes to July 12th. There are brochures like this in the lobby that give all the information about the different activities that we have during this intensive and family camp. It also gives the website so you can go online and see past videos and pictures of what happens at the family camp. We have parallel activities for all different age groups. So we have adult programs. Simultaneously, we have a teenager group. Parallel to that, we have a age 10 to 13 group. We also have an age 6 to 9 group. We also have an age 3 to 5 group. We have activities throughout the day, every day for 2 weeks for all these different age groups. You get lectures like this, you get meditation, kirtan, question and answer. yoga, chance to learn harmonium, chance to learn dholak. We have other electives, like you could choose, the kids have options of learning dance, Hindi, prasad making, like a cooking class. There are so many activities and fun as well, like campfire and outdoor games and swimming, taking a dip in the holy pond, Radha Kund. All these activities are combined so that people have fun, they learn, they get an education. Both the adults learn about bhakti and the kids develop pride in Hinduism by learning the basics of Hindu philosophy. And you get the experience of living in an ashram for more than just an hour or two when you come here on Sunday. It's a residential camp, so you're encouraged to stay here at the ashram with your whole family and feel what is it like to stay in a totally devotional atmosphere for several days at a time, instead of just being here for a couple hours, then going back to the world, then coming back here. It has a cumulative effect. The effect multiplies more quickly when you don't go back into the world and you just stay here for an extended time. So this is my best advice to you. Take advantage of this upcoming family camp. I'll be here, and there will be 8 other sannyasi preachers, just like myself, trained by Kripaluji Maharaj. So we'll be here to overwhelm you with lots of orange robes walking around. There will be 8 or 9 of us here, giving sessions for the adults, teaching the kids, and it's a really fun and great experience here at the camp. So please do come and join us for that. And as I mentioned yesterday, in the meantime, you can read Prem Ras Siddhant by Kripaluji Maharaj to understand the Gita philosophy more deeply. And you can also just keep coming here and enjoying the satsang and deepening your experience. So we'll spend the last couple of minutes that we have doing some chanting, remembering that we don't want to do anasanga bhakti. We want to do sasanga bhakti. So while we're chanting, make sure that you're visualizing Krishna or Radha Krishna in front of you and feeling that relationship with them. Radhe, Radhe, Govinda bolo re. Radhe, Radhe, Govinda bolo re. Krishna Bhagwan ki I also wanted to mention that although we'll have to complete this series at a later date because we only covered the first 6 chapters of the Gita, the whole Gita, all of the Gita lectures that I've given in the past in other locations are available on YouTube, all 18 chapters. So if you go on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Radha Madhav Dham, and just click on the playlists, it shows you all the different speech series that are there. So you'll see Essence of the Gita by Swami Nikhilanand, and you can watch all 18 chapters if you want to.